Yesterday, the new Helldivers 2 Warbond came out, Polar Patriots, and I was up at 2 a.m. with 250 medals saved up, ready to purchase. On basically every corner of the internet that a Helldivers conversation was taking place, people have been bashing on this thing, some were even calling it the worst Warbond to date. Well, I've been playing pretty much all of the past 2 days, testing all of the weapons versus both the automatons and the Terminids to answer the question, is this worth your money? My name is Easy, welcome to the channel. This is my review of Helldivers 2, Polar Patriots. So let's find out, is this thing truly as bad as people say? In order to rank this thing properly, we'll be giving it a score out of 10. Each individual item is worth 1 point, plus the cosmetics being the 10th. We'll cover everything else in depth last, but firstly let's go over the cosmetics. To quickly start, the Warbond contains the same amount of victory poses, super credits, and player cards as every other premium Warbond, so this won't be included in my personal review considering this stuff is largely subjective. But it's still going to be worth a point that I'm going to leave up to you. If you like these cosmetics, you can add a +1 to the total score of the review at the end. If not, then just don't add the point. But onto what actually matters. Of course, this Warbond is par for the course with 3 armor sets. This time we get 2 heavy sets and 1 light set. I don't quite understand why they don't just give us a light, medium, and heavy in every Warbond. It's a bit annoying when they double up, but it is what it is. Unfortunately, there are no new armor passives in this Warbond, but that doesn't mean they're all bad. On the first page is the CW36 Winter Warrior, our first heavy set, which comes with the servo-assisted passive. Although I must admit, this passive is one of my personal favorites in the game. It is quite a common passive to see these days. Down on the second page is the CW22 Kodiak. I love the look of this one, and it does come with the fortified passive. Once again, quite a common passive, but I actually think heavy fortified armor is pretty strong against automatons, so this armor set is pretty damn good, all things considered. Lastly, we've got our one and only light set, the CW4 Arctic Ranger. I think this is a huge win considering it comes with the Scout passive, which isn't actually on too many armor sets in the game, so it's nice to add another Scout set to our collection. In my opinion, this one also looks the best in the entire Warbond, but I know it's unique in both design and color, and that you may have different tastes, which is why I'm not really considering the look of armor in my review. Again, how cool something looks is very subjective, but what I will include is how useful the armor actually is. Well, I think the Winter Warrior with servo-assisted is pretty damn garbage. I really don't love heavy armor in the first place unless you're playing against automatons, and if you are, then the fortified passive on the Kodiak is by far the better choice, especially considering how many explosives the automatons throw at you. The light set, though, is fantastic. While the Scout passive is nothing new, it's definitely not common in paid Warbonds. In fact, this is the first one that's found its way into a premium Warbond, so huge points for including this guy. I'd say they hit on 2 out of 3 armor sets in terms of functionality and value. You're definitely getting your worth there. So yeah, I'm happy with my purchase on this end. 2 points awarded for the armor. But let's be honest, the real value comes in the weapons, grenade, and booster. We'll start with the primary weapons and go in unlock order. First up is the AR-61 Tenderizer. I'll just say it straight off the bat, this thing really sucks. It is just the Liberator but worse. No, quite literally, it has the same damage stat but trades capacity and fire rate for recoil. I had assumed that since the description read that it traded capacity for stopping power, that this weapon would at least have medium armor penetration or concussive rounds. Or both. Well, I was wrong. The description is a complete lie. This thing feels like it has absolutely no stopping power at all. It has light armor pen, no concussive rounds, and isn't explosive, so it struggles to kill any mid-tier units. But at the same time, its small mag size and low fire rate means that it struggles to horde clear effectively. So I ask, what is the point of its existence? That I could not tell you, but I will give it props in one area. It is one of the nicest ARs handling-wise in the game. It's designed nicely, it sounds clean, I like the look of the weapon overall. By the way, they got the texture wrong. It's supposed to be black but turned out green, and a developer confirmed that they'll be changing it back to black soon, but I digress. It handles pretty well and both sounds and feels like it should be far more powerful than it is. I will also add that it is probably better against automatons than bugs, but it's pretty bad here as well. It struggles to kill anything but the lowest tier of units, and when you get to the mid tier of units like Devastators, you just cannot go through their armor at all. So you're stuck using this thing like a marksman rifle aiming for that tiny head of theirs. Plus, the fire rate and capacity is so low you can't really spray and pray to hit the head, so at this point just take a real marksman rifle, which will prove to be far more effective. In the end, this weapon is quite literally a downgraded version of the Liberator. There is no way around it. You will genuinely not have fun with this thing, and that really sucks to say because I love the design. But in the end, gameplay is king and it just really sucks. In order to fix this thing, I think it either needs to be buffed with concussive rounds or medium penetration. The fact you can't go through Devastators or Hive Guardians is just terrible for a weapon that claims to have high stopping power. No point awarded for the Tenderizer. On to the next weapon, we're flipping a complete 180. The SMG 72 Pummeler is very good. Probably the best SMG in the game, and dare I say a top 5 weapon, period. I might be overreacting here, but I don't think I am. This weapon is 100% worth your money. The Pummeler is an SMG that trades overall DPS for concussive rounds. It is fantastic against all light and most medium units, has great horde clear, fantastic handling, a fair amount of ammo, but man oh man, the concussive rounds just make this weapon so good. Against bugs, it can shut down pretty much every unit besides Chargers and Bile Titans, and that's not a joke. You can quite literally stun lock any other bug in the game, including Stalkers. In this clip I got on screen, you're seeing this Stalker literally could not move, and if you can do it to Stalkers, you best believe you can do it to everything else. This weapon is the ultimate hunter cuck. It can interrupt their jump mid-air, cancel their attacks, and stun them in place. Of course, it can also stop a Brood Commander charge, and against bots, it's quite similar. It has a big enough mag size and enough handling to consistently aim for the Devastator's heads at medium ranges, and up close, you can absolutely shred them. Honestly, this thing is A tier against bots by itself, but pair it with the ballistic shield and you are in for a treat. There were multiple instances where I straight up just tanked a couple of Devastators shooting at me while I pushed forward to take ground, and my team was behind me backing me up. It was literally like a movie scene, and this thing will have you feeling like the main character, especially against bugs where this thing might be the best bug weapon in the game. If you have this thing in your hand, you can practically go hitless when fighting against bugs, and if you pair this with a good build, you're just unstoppable. I was running Guard Dog Rover and the new booster to stop me from getting slowed, more on this later, and the bugs literally just couldn't touch me. The Pummeler was stopping anything from getting near me, and if they weren't already dead, the Rover would just tap them and finish them off. I also ran it with the shield backpack and jetpack, and really this is just making me realize that everything is good with this weapon. Just look at it this way, Hunters and Brood Commanders become a non-issue with this gun in your hand, and that makes life so much easier. It allows you to focus more attention on Chargers and Bile Titans without ever having to truly worry about pesky other bugs like Hunters. All in all, this weapon is freaking amazing. I'm not joking, I felt unstoppable against bugs with this thing. It was almost unfair. I honestly am inclined to give this thing 2 points because it's so good, but I'm not here to cheat. Only 1 point awarded for the Pummeler. But finally, jumping over to our last primary, we've got the Plaz 101 Purifier. And after experiencing the highs of the Pummeler, we are headed straight back down to mediocrity. I was most looking forward to this weapon after seeing the trailer, so it saddens me to say that I was extremely disappointed when I gave it a try. I first tested against bugs, and while it was serviceable, it just wasn't effective in any capacity. This weapon kind of has an identity crisis because really, what is it trying to be? It reminds me a little bit of the Plasma Punisher, but with a bigger mag and the ability to shoot straight, but all of that at the cost of a long charge to fire. It literally has the same exact damage stat as the Punisher Plasma at 250, so what is the point of using this thing over that? Well, against bugs, there really isn't one. I'm actually quite a fan of the Punisher Plasma, and honestly, I was a little offended using the Purifier, because it just felt like a knockoff Punisher Plasma, but with an extremely long charge time to the point that it was nearly unusable against bugs. I can admit, maybe I was using it entirely wrong, maybe I was running a bad build with it, but against bugs, keeping your distance just really isn't an option. Once you take that first shot and they aggro on you, the bugs will run at you until they're dead or they get to you. And once they're on top of you with this weapon, you're done for, because, well, you'll just blow yourself up. Much like the Tenderizer, it seems like a weapon that doesn't know what it wants to be. If you want AoE, go for the Plasma Punisher. If you want hard-hitting explosives, go for the Eruptor. If you want a plasma weapon, go for the Scorcher. This weapon tries to be too many things at once, which inherently isn't a bad thing, but it ends up paying the price of a long time between shots, and that's just too hefty of a price. Again, things like the Punisher Plasma, Eruptor, and Scorcher can all do this thing's job, but better. It's got one big benefit where it can actually stun lock enemies, which can actually be pretty useful against automatons, specifically Devastators. These dudes are practically everywhere, and we've all been in that situation where they're just spamming us with a minigun or rockets, and every time we peek, we just get absolutely demolished. This weapon can shut that down a little bit, because if you can get the charge timing down, you can stun lock any Devastator within the AoE. Considering automatons often group up, there were many instances that I was able to stun 3 to 4 Devastators at a time. Using this, I found myself falling into this support type of role where my team would go into the objective or an automaton base, and I would kind of sit back on a rock and provide suppressive fire with this thing. But in the end, it still took 4 to 5 shots to eventually kill them. Sure, they couldn't fight back, but with the long charge time, this just took way too long to secure a kill. Also, this supportive, suppressive fire playstyle really isn't for me, and I don't even think it was the intended playstyle of the weapon, but it's really the only playstyle that felt useful. To wrap this weapon up, honestly, I'd say it's an easy miss. It's pretty terrible against bugs and very much below average against bots. I can see some people taking a liking to this thing in that support role if that's for them, but quite honestly, I really just didn't like this thing at all. It was too slow and felt really clunky and gimmicky to use, and unless changes are made, I wouldn't be surprised if this weapon just collected dust in my arsenal. No point awarded for the Purifier. In the end, when it comes to primary weapons, I'd say only the Pummeler is worth your time and money in this Warbond. But is that really all too surprising? It seems like most Warbonds on release only have one good gun anyway. For example, when Cutting Edge came out, it was the Sickle, and when Democratic Detonation came out, it was the Eruptor. Sure, when balance patches came out, other weapons did get better, but we're focusing on the now. And the truth is about the now, only the Pummeler is worth your time or money. But I think where this Warbond can really separate itself is the booster. Typically, there's been kind of a long-running tradition of paid Warbonds having pretty garbage boosters. I think this Warbond breaks the trend. Motivational Shock allows Helldivers to recover faster after being slowed by an attack. This thing is incredible against bugs. Overall, it allows you to stay on the move much more than before. As mentioned earlier, pairing this with the Pummeler, you truly do feel like an unstoppable kiting machine. In my book, it is a top 4 booster for bugs, no doubt. When I'm running bug missions, I'm going to be taking this thing if nobody else does. I also enjoy playing solo in this game. It's a fun challenge, and I think this might be the new booster choice in solos. But as you'll notice, I've only really talked about bugs, and that's because against automatons, dare I call it useless? I could be wrong, but automatons don't really slow you in the first place. Instead of slowing you, the automatons typically utilize the technique of launching rockets at your face until you fly across the map. And sadly, this booster will not help with that. But that being said, I think this booster truly is worth it. Sure, it's useless against one faction, but against the other, it truly changes the game. You will still get slowed, and there are still some instances where you get slowed for absurd amounts of time, but you'll run into those situations far less with this booster on. You genuinely do recover from slows much faster, and you can feel it. An easy point awarded for the booster. This booster is very much worth it, but that leaves 2 items left in the Warbond. First, the Incendiary Impact. There really is not much explanation needed here. It's basically the first Incendiary Grenade, except it explodes on impact. Obviously, that is the biggest difference, the exploding on impact, but other than that, the biggest difference is that the original Incendiary has a much longer AoE effect. The fire seems to linger for much longer, whereas the impact kind of fades away after a short time. That being said, the impact really shines in sticky situations and when fighting patrols. If you're in a bad spot and a horde is getting too large, toss this bad boy right at them and it will clear out smaller units and weaken the medium and large ones. The same applies if you see a random patrol walking around, lob this thing in the middle of them and it'll take care of them quickly. However, the original Incendiary Grenade is still better at locking down choke points or stopping bug breaches and automaton drop-offs, simply because of the fact that it lingers much longer. But the impact is much easier to use and again is much better in those sticky situations. Really, in my opinion, they have 2 different use cases, which is great design by the developers. If you're looking to lock down certain sections and choke points, take the first Incendiary, but if you're looking to quickly clear hordes and stay on the run, the impact will be the better choice. That being said, I think having the option to choose is a good thing. Personally, I prefer the impact so far. It's very nice to not have to worry about a perfect nade placement and kind of just toss it on the enemy and turn and run. In my opinion, this grenade is a huge win, especially considering the dot damage just got fixed. You'll definitely want to give it a go. A point awarded for the grenade. But lastly, we've got a secondary in the Warbond, the P113 Verdict, which is essentially Super Earth's version of a Desert Eagle. It sounds and looks like you'd expect a Desert Eagle to sound and look, but its performance is far from there. It's sad to say, but this thing is very middle of the road. That doesn't mean it's bad, but everyone's used a Desert Eagle in video games, and this thing just doesn't provide the fantasy that you're looking for. Despite sounding and looking powerful, it's just average, especially compared to the Uzi and Revolver, which continue to reign supreme as the best secondaries in the game. That leads us back to the Verdict, where it once again has a bit of an identity crisis. Interesting, that seems to be a theme among these weapons, huh? I want it to feel like a Desert Eagle. I want my enemy to stumble when the bullet hits them, not brush it off and keep running at me. Honestly, I think the best thing they could do is a full-scale rework. Lower the mag size and fire rate slightly, but in return give it medium armor pen and make it slightly concussive. You could even make it do less damage than the Revolver, so it's a trade-off. You take the Revolver if you want higher damage, you take the Verdict if you want concussive rounds. But what do I know? I'm not a balancing dev, I'm just a player throwing out my suggestions. Either way, the Verdict is just average. So while it's a fun item to add to your collection, it is not a selling point of this Warbond. No point awarded for the secondary. And hey, looks like that's the entire Warbond. And we're at a total of 5 out of 10, thanks to 2 armor sets, the Pummeler, the Nade, and the Booster. That puts us in an interesting situation to end this thing off. If you remember at the beginning of this video, I said you can award a point for the cosmetics if you like and value them. So this is up to you. My official recommendation is if you like the cosmetics, buy this Warbond. If you don't, then skip it. The weapon, booster, and nade are all fantastic, and 2 of the armor sets are good, but if you don't like or value the cosmetics, I don't think you'll come away feeling very satisfied with your purchase. Of course though, that's assuming you're buying the super credits. If you already have the super credits in your account, personally, I'd make the purchase without even thinking about it. But there it is, officially a score out of 5, potentially 6 if you like and value the cosmetics. Remember, in the end, this is just my opinion. It's not the right opinion, it's just mine as a loyal Helldiver with around 200 hours. Yes, I don't go outside. And also keep this in mind, this ranking isn't to metify the game. If you enjoy the weapons, even though I don't, props to you. Don't let anyone else tell you what you can and can't use. In the end, it's a PvE game and it's supposed to be fun. I'm just trying to help other players make a more informed purchase. If you've had a chance to use this Warbond, let me know down below if you're happy with the purchase. And if this helped you at all, drop a sub and a like. It would mean a lot to me and really help me in return. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and until next time, I'll see you on the front lines. See ya!